I've booked over 500 meetings within the last year. And in 2 days, I've booked over 17 qualified meetings with people who are ready to invest with cold calling. Right now, we're doing about 170K a month. Our plan is to scale to 500K a month. So getting more appointments booked is gonna be super important to be able to do that. In this video, I'm gonna go over how I booked 17 qualified meetings in just 2 days with cold calling so you could do the same. Now, the first thing that I want to touch on is don't build the wrong type of audience, because this is super important. A lot of people have a hard time getting calls booked because they post content and they end up building the wrong type of audience, people who don't have the problem that you're trying to solve. So this makes it very, very difficult, right? And you see, the thing is, a misaligned audience is gonna just make things a lot harder. So then you're gonna have to be doing cold outreach to reach out to random prospects, right? Now, when you have an audience filled with people that want your help, then it just makes things way easier, right? And the best way you're gonna do this is oftentimes by choosing a specific ICP, which equals ideal client profile. When you choose one specific ICP that you could help, right, and you narrow your entire content, right? For example, if you're posting on YouTube, you narrow all your videos around that stuff, okay? Now you're probably like, okay, why am I listening to my advice on YouTube? Well, I've had clients in the past who literally have worked with like Bill Gates, and I've helped them on YouTube. And I actually have one, he came out here, so he gave me a hat. It's the black hat over there. It's that one, right? I've also helped out entrepreneurs who've done over 20 million in sales through direct marketing. I've helped them optimize their YouTube video, right? So yeah, YouTube is gonna be a very key player with this. I would definitely avoid Instagram, because with Instagram, it just, it attracts worse quality leads, right? So choosing one specific ICP, knowing all the problems, right? And then oftentimes being able to create content that resonates with these people helps out a ton, because after you're able to, create content that attracts the right people, you're gonna start getting an infinite flow of leads, right? Your pipeline is gonna be full. You're gonna start getting tons of people who want your help, right? For example, right now, we get like over 90 to around like 90, 100 plus members joining our community every single day, right? So when you create content, when you have a way to get tons of traffic and tons of people to opt into something, then it makes things a lot easier. And this is simply by building the right type of audience, which is going to be super important. Now, from there, after that, this next thing is super important, so make sure you guys pay attention, which is this advice is something that, it's contrary to what you see other people tell you inside the internet, which is don't build a complicated funnel. A lot of people think you need a website, you need all these crazy email sequences, and all that stuff to be able to get cold calls, right? Now, to be able to get cold calls, you simply need numbers, right? Call numbers from prospects that you could help. So how do you do that? What we do is we use this thing called School. It's a platform where you can host a community, right? So once you start building traffic and you get these people into a School community, you could have certain things like you could ask them for their phone number. You could ask them for, make sure you say like, oh, I'm going to send you a free gift. You could ask them for their email, and then you could ask them for like where they came from, right? Like what source they came from, right? And in this case, maybe they came from YouTube, right? So after you have those things, you're gonna be able to collect these numbers from people, right? That you could cold call, right? Which is, something that we do, right? After you have this, now you have a list of people who are getting warmed up, because what a School community allows you to do is it allows you to nurture these leads. So they're warming up, right? They're warming up. So they're not technically cold. They're now lukewarm. That's literally what I call it, lukewarm leads, right? Because they have some sort of idea about you. They see you have a community. Maybe if you have like 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, people inside of a community, that's just going to raise up your authority level, right? So it just increases trust pretty much, right? Which helps out a ton. I mean, we've got a community of 35,000 people inside of there, right? So usually when I do a cold call, people are like, it already positions, when I do the cold call, it positions me as an authority already. You know what I mean? Because we just have so much people inside the community. So there is that. Now from there, what I want to touch on is when you actually doing the calling, which is what we're going to get into. So make sure you stick around till the end of this video. This is super important. Which is like, whenever I call them, I don't become professional, right? Like for example, there was this one guy that I called. He literally talked about, you know, like he was driving and he was on his way to the vet, right? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, what, do you have a dog or something? You know what I mean? So I just try to connect to him in his situation, because whenever you're doing cold calls, something that I found is like, you know, people are busy, because I'm making over 100 cold calls every day. I'm literally mastering this, right? I'm not going to teach you guys something that I haven't mastered, right? A lot of people, they can barely get like 10 calls booked in a month, 10 to 20 calls booked in a month, right? I'm getting almost 20 calls booked within 2 days, right? So something that I found is meeting people where they're at, right? Maybe they're in a soccer game, taking their kids there, right? Maybe they are about to go to sleep, right? Like I've booked calls with people who are literally about to go to sleep. Like I remember I was in a call with this one woman. She was about to go to sleep. I was like, oh, like this is only going to take a few short minutes. You know what I mean? Because I put an emphasis how it was going to be short. She's like, okay, I wonder what it is. You know what I mean? So then she, you know, we kept on talking, right? So that's another important thing. Setting the frame is super important. It's something that I found. And then I just genuinely connect with them as a human. Like I made this other cold call with this person. He was having breakfast, right? And he was talking about how, you know, he's having bacon and eggs. So I talked to him. I created a rapport with him for like the first 1 to 2 minutes, because what that allows me to do is it allows like a personal touch. So when I come in there as a friend, right, it's going to allow me to increase trust, because when I first call them, they might be like, who is this guy? You know? So when I connect to them and I talk to them like a friend, I'm coming in a different angle rather than all these other people who are like, do you want my service? Do you want my service? No, I'm coming in like bacon and eggs. Like, dude, I love bacon and eggs. You know what I mean? So then I create that rapport with them. And then from there, I transition. I'm like, okay, so like what brought you here? You know what I mean? Because like we mentioned, you know, people come into the school community, right? And then from there, yada, 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 right? And then I just simply book calls with them. And the thing is, a lot of you guys, maybe you're stuck, right? Maybe you're like, oh, I'm barely booking 1 call, 2 calls, or maybe you're not even booking any calls, right? Your problem is volume. You're not doing enough volume. You see, volume literally negates luck, right? The more that you do, the better you get. The better you get, the more skilled you become, right? And in like 2 to 3 days, I've done almost 300 calls, right? And I still feel like I haven't done enough, right? Because whatever I teach you guys, I'm going to master it. I'm going to become better than everybody, and then I'm going to share it here, right? I don't want to just like talk about stuff. I want to become the best, 10 out of 10 exceptional at whatever I'm saying in these videos. That way, I just, you get the most purified information from someone who's actually done the reps, right? And I'm not even here to sell you anything. I have nothing to sell. I'm just sharing what I'm doing and hoping that you leave this video better than, you know, you leave this video with more value and, you know, better. You know what I mean? I just hope things increase for you. So yeah, volume negates luck. I'm going to tell you about a story about me, actually, literally 1 year ago, like 1.5 years ago, right? I remember, it is not related to cold calling, but it was related to me sending cold DMs, right? In the beginning, when I first started sending cold DMs, I was sending about like 40 messages a day, right? And I was like, why am I not getting any clients? You know what I mean? Why am I not getting any calls booked? And then, you know, one day I got a client for 1K, right? And then I was like, this is crazy. I got her on a call booked. Right? I followed up with her like 4 or 5 times probably. I sent her like Loom videos and all that stuff. For those of you that don't know, Loom is like a screen recording thing, right? Got her on a call booked, and then I pitched her, and it worked, right? And then, from there, sales slowed down. The amount of book calls I got slowed down. And then I I was like, why, right? It's because volume. I wasn't doing it in volume. And the reason I wasn't doing it in volume is because I wasn't tracking, right? I wasn't tracking how much outreaches I was sending, and I wasn't correlating that with how many booked calls I would get, right? And basically in cold calling, it's the same thing, right? Like you want to track how much you send, how much calls you make, and then you want to track what the pickup rate is. We use this software called SendBlue, so that literally tracks everything, right? It gives us a good area code, and then it also sends them like a text through SMS, like through their phone directly, right? If it's blue, if they have an iPhone, it sends a blue. If they don't, it sends a green, right? And then I just call literally from my laptop, so I literally don't even need my phone. And yeah, that's what we do. Hopefully you found this valuable, and yeah.